The USS Freedom cut through the calm waters of the Red Sea, a lone sentinel on a vital trade route. The midday sun beat down on the littoral combat ship. The crew stood watch, vigilant against any threat. Inside the ship, the hum of technology filled the air. Captain Johnson kept a watchful eye on the radar screen. So far, the patrol had been uneventful. The USS Freedom was a marvel of modern naval technology. Designed for speed and agility, it was armed to the teeth. The ship's shallow draft allowed it to operate closer to shore. It was a formidable deterrent against any hostile force. The crew, highly trained and battle-ready, were the pride of the U.S. Navy. They were prepared to defend freedom wherever it was threatened. The Red Sea, a vital artery of global commerce, had become increasingly volatile. Tensions were high in the region. The threat of piracy and terrorism loomed large. The USS Freedom's mission was clear: to deter aggression and ensure the free flow of trade. The sailors knew the importance of their duty. They were the shield that protected American interests abroad. As the sun began its descent towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the deck, the tension on the bridge remained high. The radar screen, a constant source of information and potential danger, flickered with each sweep. The crew, ever vigilant, knew that in these unpredictable waters, danger could surface at any moment. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the radar screen. It was an unidentified vessel approaching at high speed. The alarm sounded, shattering the quiet tension on the bridge. Adrenaline surged through the crew as they sprang into action. "Captain, we have an unidentified contact, bearing 090, closing fast," the radar operator reported, his voice tight with urgency. The blip on the screen grew larger, a clear indication of the approaching threat. The once calm atmosphere on the bridge transformed into a whirlwind of controlled chaos. Captain Johnson's face hardened. "Battle stations. I repeat, all hands to battle stations," he barked, his command echoing through the ship's intercom. The crew responded with practiced efficiency, racing to their assigned positions. Within seconds, the USS Freedom was transformed from a peaceful patrol ship to a weapon of war, ready to defend itself. "Identify the contact," Captain Johnson ordered, his eyes glued to the radar screen. The blip was getting closer, the tension on the bridge thickening with each passing second. The fate of the USS Freedom and the lives of her crew hung in the balance. "Sir, we are receiving no response on any channel," the communications officer replied, his voice strained. "They are not responding to our hails." The unknown contact remained defiant, a silent menace closing in on the USS Freedom with unnerving speed. The ship hummed with a nervous energy. Sailors raced to their battle stations, their faces grim. The enemy vessel, now identified as a heavily armed corvette, continued its relentless approach. It was clear this was no routine encounter. Captain Johnson's voice was calm but firm. "Prepare to engage hostile target," he ordered. The tension in the air was palpable. Every crew member knew the gravity of the situation. Their training had prepared them for this moment. The USS Freedom turned, its hull angling towards the approaching threat. The ship's weapon systems came online, locking onto the enemy corvette. Inside the ship, sailors prepared for battle. Their fingers hovered over buttons and triggers. They were ready to defend their ship, their comrades, and their country. The enemy corvette showed no signs of slowing down. It continued on its intercept course, its intentions hostile and clear. The USS Freedom was outgunned and outmatched. But the American sailors were not intimidated. They were determined to fight back with every ounce of their strength. "Fire!" Captain Johnson roared. The USS Freedom unleashed its arsenal. SM-2 missiles roared into the sky, leaving trails of smoke in their wake. The missiles, guided by advanced radar systems, streaked towards their target. The SM-2S were designed for long-range engagements. They were a critical component of the U.S. Navy's layered defense strategy. Their sophisticated guidance systems allowed them to track and engage multiple targets with pinpoint accuracy. The missiles were a testament to American technological superiority. They represented a significant advantage in naval warfare. The first wave of missiles found their mark. Two explosions ripped through the air, engulfing the enemy corvette in fire and smoke. The enemy vessel, caught off guard by the ferocity of the American response, staggered under the impact. But the attack was far from over. The USS Freedom's close-in weapon system, a last line of defense against incoming missiles, whirred to life. Its radar spun rapidly, searching for targets. The CIWS, nicknamed the R2D2 by sailors, was a marvel of engineering. It was capable of firing thousands of rounds per minute, creating a wall of lead that could shred any incoming projectile. "They're launching missiles!" the weapons officer shouted, his voice laced with urgency. The enemy, despite the damage it had sustained, was fighting back. Drone swarm. As the smoke from the initial missile strikes cleared, a new threat emerged. A swarm of Shahed 136 drones, their wings buzzing menacingly, appeared on the horizon, heading straight for the USS Freedom. These suicide drones, packed with explosives, posed a serious threat to the ship and its crew. The Shahed 136 drones, infamous for their low cost and deadly effectiveness, were a relatively new weapon in the global arms market. Their appearance in this attack signaled a dangerous escalation in the region's conflicts. They represented a paradigm shift in naval warfare where even small, inexpensive weapons could threaten sophisticated warships. CIWs, engage those drones, Captain Johnson commanded, his voice betraying a hint of urgency. The ship's defenses whirred to life, targeting the incoming drones. The fate of the USS Freedom rested on the effectiveness of its close-in defense systems. The CIWS roared, spitting out a stream of bullets that cut through the air. Drones, engulfed in flames, plummeted into the sea. The sky became a deadly ballet of fire and steel. The USS Freedom, its hull echoing with the sounds of battle, fought desperately against the relentless drone assault. The crew, their faces grim but resolute, manned their stations with unwavering determination. They knew the stakes were high. This was not just about defending their ship, it was about sending a message that America would not be bullied. Victory at sea. One by one, the drones fell from the sky. Their explosive payloads detonated harmlessly in the water. The USS Freedom had weathered the storm. The enemy corvette, crippled and burning, retreated into the haze. Captain Johnson, his face etched with fatigue but his voice filled with pride, addressed the crew. "This ship and her crew have stared down the enemy and emerged victorious," he announced. Cheers erupted across the ship. They had faced a formidable enemy and prevailed. The mood on the bridge was a mixture of relief and exhilaration. The crew had performed flawlessly under pressure. They had proven their mettle in the crucible of combat. Their victory was a testament to their training, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to duty. But Captain Johnson knew that the fight was far from over. The attack on the USS Freedom was a stark reminder of the volatile nature of the Red Sea. It was a dangerous precedent that demanded a strong response. The U.S. government, caught off guard by the audacity of the attack, scrambled to formulate a strategy. Diplomatic fallout. News of the attack spread like wildfire. The U.S. government condemned the attack and vowed a swift response. The international community watched with bated breath. The Red Sea, a vital shipping lane, was on the brink of chaos. The attack on the USS Freedom was not just an assault on a ship, it was a direct challenge to American naval dominance. The U.S. government, facing mounting pressure to act decisively, had few good options. A full-scale military response carried the risk of escalating the conflict. But inaction would be perceived as weakness. Diplomatic channels buzzed with activity. The U.S. demanded answers and accountability. The attack, they argued, was a violation of international law. The world waited to see how the U.S. would respond. The stakes were high. The future of the Red Sea, and perhaps the entire region, hung in the balance. The attack on the USS Freedom served as a grim reminder of the challenges facing the U.S. Navy in the 21st century. The proliferation of advanced weapons technology, coupled with the rise of non-state actors, had created a more dangerous and unpredictable world. Retaliation and resolve. The U.S. response was swift and decisive. Tomahawk missiles launched from destroyers stationed in the region rained down on the enemy's coastal installations. The message was clear: America would defend its interests and its sailors. The strikes, carried out with surgical precision, targeted the enemy's military infrastructure. The U.S. government, while emphasizing the need for de-escalation, made it clear that further aggression would be met with even greater force. The world held its breath, waiting to see how the situation would unfold. The USS Freedom, its wounds patched up, rejoined the fleet. The ship and its crew, forever bound by their shared experience, continued their mission in the Red Sea. They were a symbol of American resolve, a testament to the courage and dedication of the men and women who serve in the U.S. Navy. The Red Sea, once a backwater of geopolitical intrigue, had become a flashpoint. The USS Freedom, a lone sentinel in a sea of uncertainty, sailed on. Its crew, ever vigilant, remained committed to their mission, to deter aggression, protect American interests, and ensure the free flow of commerce.